Warner Brothers tried to bury Empire Records, but damn the man, it defied the odds. Empire Records turns 30 years old this month, so here's some things I bet you never knew about it. The story behind Empire Records starts in the early 1980s at the Tower Records store in Christown Mall in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where future screenwriter Carol Heikkinen worked as a teenager. A few years later, when Heikkinen was in college, she worked at the Tower Records store on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, California. Later, in the early 90s, Heikkinen established herself as a screenwriter with the movie The Thing Called Love. And for her second film, she thought back to her time at Tower Records, and she decided to write a spec script about the young people working at a record store. She was inspired by the single-day structure of the Richard Pryor movie Car Wash, and Heikkinen was fascinated by the dichotomy of students who worked at the record store to make extra cash, as well as the older employees who were supporting themselves with that job. Many of the characters in the movie were based on real people, and she used their real names. She also used anecdotes from work, like how one guy played music that everyone hated, so another employee destroyed his favorite CD. Also, the storyline of an employee stealing funds from the store and gambling with them was inspired by a Tower Records legend that she had heard from a coworker. Heikkinen wrote the spec script in a matter of weeks, first calling it Empire. She then got it in front of Rob Carlson, an agent at William Morris, who sent it to producer Alan Rich. Carlson got Rich to read it by explaining that he and Heikkinen had graduated from the same high school. Rich liked the screenplay and agreed to come on board and pitch it to the studios. Not a week later, it sparked a bidding war in Hollywood, with Warner Brothers imprint New Regency winning out. New Regency offered Heikkinen $325,000 up front and an additional $20,000 if the film got made, plus 1% of soundtrack royalties and 5% of merchandise sales. 2 days later, New Regency was offered Clueless, but had to turn it down because they already had Empire Records in development. Clueless, by the way, ended up making a lot more money at the box office, but both ended up becoming classics. The studio then hired Alan Moyle to direct, who had credibility in the teen genre thanks to his 1990 Christian Slater film Pump Up the Volume. And then it came time to find the cast. Liv Tyler got the lead thanks to her appearance in her father's Crazy music video. But Moyle says he wasn't sure if she could really act or if she was just being herself. Rory Cochrane, who is in Dazed and Confused, wasn't sure he wanted to be in another teen movie, so he asked for a really high salary, one he was sure that they would say no to, but when Regency said yes, he signed on. And he encouraged his girlfriend, Renee Zellweger, to audition as well. Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong was offered the role of Burko, but he had to turn it down due to touring conflicts, leading it to Coyote Shivers. Jenny Lewis and Angelina Jolie also auditioned for the film but weren't cast, and Tobey Maguire was promised a part in the movie that hadn't been written yet. Alan Moyle then had the foresight to get the cast together a month before filming to rehearse and help them bond. Amid the rehearsing, group dinners, and parties, Moyle also had them do Pilates every morning, and during rehearsals, the cast improvised a number of moments that were added to the script. Also, during this pre-production time, Tobey Maguire realized there wasn't much for him to do, so he asked to be excused from the project, and Moyle agreed. Regency then set the budget at $10 million, and filming began on October 10th, 1994. They primarily shot the film in Wilmington, North Carolina. The interior record store set was built on a soundstage recently erected by Dino De Laurentiis. The last movie that shot there, before Empire Records, was The Crow, while the record store exterior was filmed at 15 South Front Street at a nightclub then known as the Palladium. They also shot exteriors at Riverfront Park, Cafe Phoenix at 9 South Front Street, and on Cape Fear Memorial Bridge. The Rex Manning music video was shot at Wrightsville Beach, and second unit director Jordan Dawes was only supposed to shoot a 17-second segment of that video, but he ended up shooting the entire thing in that one day. The Atlantic City casino interiors were shot in the Coconut Grove Room at the Ambassador Hotel on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. Ethan Embry and James Chemo Wills got arrested during filming. You see, they bought a cap gun at a local Walmart and decided to fire it off in the parking lot. This attracted the police, which led to a heated exchange and the two actors being detained. Robin Tunney explained at a reunion panel in 2015, Ethan and Chemo got hauled off to the pokey and it was on the evening news, and they intercut footage of Ethan from movies he's done, and they were like, child actor goes crazy in mall parking lot. Ethan said, I got charged with 5 counts of assault. And speaking of Robin Tunney, her shaving her head was not in the script. She came up with that as a last resort. You see, the studio wanted Moyle to fire her because she looked too cute to be depressed. So she suggested that she shave her head to give her character an edge, and Moyle agreed. Though that made everyone nervous because they really only had one shot at it. They ended up shooting the scene with 3 cameras at once to make sure they got it. Likewise, Mark hallucinating that he's in a Gwar music video wasn't in the script either. Ethan Embry just happened to notice that Gwar was playing Wilmington while they were there, so he proposed that scene and it got added to the schedule. Filming wrapped on December 14th, 1994. Regency and Moyle clashed in post-production. The studio wanted more exposition and a prologue to better explain the story. Also, Empire Records was supposed to be R-rated. It had swearing and drug content, but during the edit, Regency insisted that Moyle cut it down to be PG-13, so a lot of connective storytelling tissue ended up getting removed to satisfy that mandate. Meanwhile, music producer Mitchell Lieb was putting together a very memorable soundtrack, featuring a lot of popular bands at the time, including the Gin Blossoms, Better Than Ezra, and the Cranberries. So, Regency's original plan was to give the movie a wide release on 1,250 screens, but then it held test screenings. The first was a white middle-class audience in the San Fernando Valley. That one went really well. That audience loved it. But then Regency tested it again in a less well-off Hispanic neighborhood in the Valley, and that audience hated it. And it's easy to see why. From its cast, to its music, to the characters' lives, the movie was speaking to white audiences. And that second screen test scared Regency and Warner Brothers, so they pulled back the wide release and decided to just dump the movie instead. Empire Records premiered on just 87 screens on September 22nd, 1995. It didn't get a national marketing campaign, nor did it have a red carpet premiere. It did $150,800 opening weekend and $74,850 the following weekend. Warner Brothers eventually pulled it from theaters for a box office total of about $304,000. The critics picked up on this vibe and trashed the film. Today, just 35% of the 37 reviews assessed by Rotten Tomatoes are positive. Roger Ebert gave it 1.5 out of 4 stars. But look at that, it has an 83% audience score. The soundtrack, meanwhile, became a hit thanks to a push from A&M Records. It peaked at number 63 on the Billboard 200 album chart and went on to sell 2 million copies. The Gin Blossoms song on the soundtrack, Till I Hear It From You, charted as high as number 9. So despite Regency and Warner Brothers trying to bury the film, in the years after its release, Empire Records became a cult classic on VHS, cable, and DVD. Tower Records shut down in 2006, but the movie held on as a time capsule of the 90s. In 2015, 4,000 people attended an outdoor screening at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. According to BuzzFeed, there were fans in costume, people yelling lines at the screen, and a massive, wholly spontaneous group dance-along. Director Alan Moyle was in attendance and called it the premiere Empire Records never got. Rex Manning Day, April 8th, has taken on a life of its own as an internet meme. The movie itself never established the day as April 8th, by the way. That detail was later found on a poster on the wall in the extended version DVD. And in 2024, a stage musical based on Empire Records premiered in New Jersey, with music and lyrics by Zoe Sarnak and a book by Carol Heikkinen herself. Oh, and by the way, after Empire Records, Heikkinen went on to write another cult classic teen movie about the arts. She wrote 2000's Center Stage. Thanks for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, drop a "Damn the Man, Save the Empire" in the comments. For more film histories, check out the attached playlist. And for the latest movie news, subscribe to my newsletter.